In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This included everything: trees, clouds, fish, iguanas, even the small things like amoebas and spiders. God also made something debated to be much more important: humans. God created humans in order to have a relationship with them. God pours out his love and blessings, and humans worship and adore him, walking closely with him. The first humans God made were Adam and Eve, the first man and woman. As said, they had a relationship, and there was only one string attached. God forbade the two from eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve probably thought the task would be easy, and for a time it was, until a sneaky serpent by the name of Lucifer ruined everything. He convinced Eve to eat the forbidden fruit, saying she would be endowed with the knowledge that God possessed. She ate the fruit and also convinced Adam to eat it. This didn't end well. They had broken the one rule God gave them, and as a result, they were kicked out of the beautiful garden. Technically, the wages of going against God, also known as sin, is death. However, God is a God of mercy and compassion and love, and gave Adam and Eve a chance to redeem themselves if they continued to follow God to the best of their ability. Life continued, and as the earth began to populate, the sin cycle began. For years upon years, humans would sin, get into a big mess, ask God to help them out of it, and when he did, they would turn right back around and sin again. This sin cycle continued for a while, and then God finally got sick of it. He reached out to the only God-fearing righteous man on earth, Noah. He told Noah he was going to wash out everyone but the righteous, and to prepare by building a huge ark designed to hold all the animals on earth. The flood came, and Noah and the animals survived. God spoke to Noah and promised he would never destroy the earth with a flood again. This promise was symbolized by a beautiful rainbow. However, humans had proven themselves to be evil creatures, and not even a flood fixed the problem. On the bright side, more righteous, God-fearing people came to be, and God began to restore his relationship with people as they began to reach out to him and mean it. Shortly after the flood came the remarkable story of Abraham, later to be known as Abraham. Abraham and his wife Sarah tried for years to conceive, and as they reached old age, their hopes of having children were gone. However, God had bigger plans and constantly promised Abraham that his descendants would be more numerous than the grains of sand on the earth. Somehow, at almost 100 years old, Sarah became pregnant and gave birth to Isaac, which began the promised covenant of blessing Abraham with many sons and daughters. After a series of important Bible figures, such as Jacob and Esau and Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, shout out to all you musical fans out there, this then led the way to the next monumental event in the Metanarrative, the story of Moses and the Israelites, which eventually led to the Mosaic Covenant. The story of Moses begins with an awful law made by Pharaoh, which required male children to be killed, as Pharaoh feared they would take over his kingdom. Moses' mother could not kill her son, obviously, and so she sent him down the stream in a basket to be found by Pharaoh's daughter, who adopted Moses as her own son. Moses grew up practically as royalty, and eventually found out he was actually an Israelite, through the power of God, who called out to him in a burning bush. God told Moses to save the Israelites from Egypt, and after a long series of plagues, Pharaoh finally let Moses take the enslaved Israelites out of Egypt to go towards the Promised Land. On the way to the Promised Land, God met with Moses on Mount Sinai to give him the 10 Commandments, also known as the Mosaic Covenant, which meant that the Israelites were to follow God's rules to restore the relationship that once existed with humans and God. However, the sin cycle continued even with these new rules, and although there were a rare few who tried to follow the covenant, it was rather unsuccessful.